I'm super excited to announce this project that I've been working on. It came out of a need where I felt really alone. It was the loneliest time of my life when I got diagnosed with breast cancer. The first question I asked my oncologist was, who have you treated that has my exact diagnosis? She couldn't find anyone. I have a wonderful husband, great friends, but they weren't walking down the same path. This is why I created Diagnosis Anonymous. Diagnosis Anonymous connects people who are going through cancer, newly diagnosed people, to mentors, people who have been down that same path. Go to diagnosisanonymous.com and join our waitlist to get matched to your mentor. You'll fill out a quick, easy form. You will get notified when you have a match. diagnosisanonymous.com. Thank you. Welcome to Boobalicious. This podcast is about navigating life as a midlife woman. Your health, your body, your identity, and everything that shifts along the way.
From hormones to healing, including life during and after cancer, we're having the conversation no one prepares you for.
I'm Chris, a mom of 2 and a breast cancer survivor.
And I'm in perimenopause.
And we're figuring it out right alongside you.
I'm Jenny, a physical therapist specializing in women's health. Join us and subscribe.
Our guest today is Leanne Citrone, a cancer survivor who turned one of the hardest chapters of her life into a mission to help others. She's an advocate, a connector, and someone who truly wears so many different hats. I'm so grateful that you're joining us because I've been following you for a bit now. And I just have to say, your journey and the way you're going about it is really inspiring. I had breast cancer, and when I see someone like yourself who is so authentically just putting it all out there, you wear so many hats. You're a health coach and you're a recipe creator, which I definitely want to get into some nutrition stuff today. But if you don't mind sharing your diagnosis and your journey.
So I did the BRCA test when I was 33 and found out that I was BRCA1 positive. And so I decided to have an elective double mastectomy when I was 35, when my youngest was 2. And a full mastectomy, I had my nipples removed because someone that I knew had a mastectomy, didn't have her nipples removed, and then got breast cancer. And so I just was like, I'm not going through all this to still worry.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take the loss. So I did that. I would go to the doctor all the time. I would go to see specialists about getting my ovaries removed. And I talked about having my tubes removed and stuff. And no one in my family had ever had ovarian cancer. My mom had breast cancer and in her 40s, and then at 63 was diagnosed with stomach, pancreatic, liver. My aunt had breast cancer 4 times. My grandmother had breast cancer in her 40s. And even my grandfather got cancer. And so I went to the doctors about having my ovaries removed, but because no one had ever had ovarian cancer, I didn't need to get my ovaries removed because that wasn't going to happen to me. And then I just all of a sudden out of nowhere got really bloated and distended within like a couple of weeks, like 3 weeks.
Your stomach.
From being normal to looking like I was going to give birth. I mean, I was bloated from like my rib cage, like all the way down. Like I looked like I was going to give birth. So I'd spoken to a girlfriend of mine. I was like, I'm so bloated. I always gain weight in my stomach. So I was just like, I'm not eating that much. Like, I don't understand why I feel so fat. Like for me, it was just like, why am I fat? Like that's where I gain weight. And she said, you should go and get tested for SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is when the bacteria from your colon travels up into your stomach, and it's a toxic wasteland a little bit. And so I went to a GI guy and he was trying to get an appointment. It was so uncomfortable. And I just was like, I need to get this medication to treat this SIBO that I have, that I'm certain I have. My son had it when he was 13. So I just was like, yeah, that's what I've got. And I couldn't get in with the doctor. It was like really hard. I ended up going to urgent care. And I was in so much pain, and I just need this SIBO medication. And the doctor was like, it's so funny in retrospect, the doctor was like, you need to get this taken care of. Like, it was so obvious to her, to me now, that she knew what was going on was more severe than what I realized. And it's like, that's why I'm here. Like, give me the SIBO medication.
Yeah.
And she was like, you need to get this taken care of. And I'm like, I know. So that was on the Friday. On the Saturday, the next day, my kidneys were hurting. I was just in so much pain. I ended up going back to urgent care and had X-ray and more blood work and urine. Everything was like wonky and off. They did a X-ray and they saw that I had a blockage. But that was it, sent me home. So they called me on the Monday morning and they said, we spoke to the GI guy and he wants you to come in and get a bunch of tests. He wants to see you sooner and he wants you to be ready. And so come in to get a CT scan and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, great. We're like finally getting somewhere. So I go in on the Tuesday morning for a CT scan and a bunch of blood work, oblivious to what was coming my way. Like, couldn't have been less prepared, even with all my family history.
Yeah.
And it was like all those things where like the doctor kept coming in and being like, we just need a second person to read the scan. And I was like, sure.
Yeah, why not? Sure.
Take your time, like whatever. And then he was like, can you not leave? Like, we want to go through the results with you. And I was like, yeah, not a problem. Like, I'm
like,
here.
when are you going to write the antibiotic?
Yeah, literally just said, take your time. Yeah. And my family's all over in England and Wisconsin and whatever. I'm on the phone with my dad and my sister and my husband. I went alone. And when the doctor finally came in 6 hours later, my husband was on the phone and the doctor was like, there's a 14 centimeter tumor on your left ovary and a 4 centimeter tumor on your right ovary, and it's malignant. And I remember saying, well, what's malignant?
Yeah.
And my husband was like, it's cancer. And I could not have been less prepared, even with my family history and everything I'd been through in that moment for that news. So they sent me over to the ER. I had a gallon of fluid drained off my stomach. And I went home, and then just like that journey starts of finding doctors and figuring out what's next and what to do.
Oh my God. It's like a gut punch. I mean, it really is. It was like getting that news, because I was also not prepared, everything was in slow motion. It's like you're seeing everything and you're trying to remember to breathe. And how did you mentally get through the next phase of what to do and taking those next steps?
So I used to own a hair salon. I'm going to jump around a little. I used to own a hair salon, and in COVID, I sold my half of the business and I took a sabbatical. I went to culinary school. I went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I started to do recipe developing, and I launched a supplement brand with a girlfriend, which didn't work. We tried. And then about 4 months before my diagnosis, so I got diagnosed in July, last March, my sister said, why don't you start doing hair again? Like, you're so great at it. You love it.
Yeah.
Go and work somewhere. Do hair a couple of days a week. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So I started back. But my point is when I was diagnosed, I had a client, a very dear friend and a client who is a doctor. Her husband's a doctor. She's a doctor. And she was always the person that I would call if I needed, if a kid broke a finger or whatever happened. I would call her. I need a GI doctor, whatever. And so when I got my diagnosis and I was in the hospital, I think it was like I called my dad and then I called my friend.
Yeah.
And I said, I've been diagnosed with cancer. And she said, give me 5 minutes. And she called a friend who's an oncologist. And she said, here's the cell phone number. You're calling him at 8 a.m. You're seeing him tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I was so lucky to have someone to turn to. I was like, I'm checking into the hospital and I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
get it out. I just was like, get it out. Yeah.
And they were like, you're going home and here's a piece of paper with a doctor's number. And you did see him 10 years ago about having your ovaries removed, which you didn't do, but you should call him. So between the two things, I I worked with Dr. Andy Lee, who is an ovarian surgical oncologist.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one I'd seen before and didn't get my ovaries removed. I was certain he wouldn't take me as a client because I didn't listen. And he was so incredible. And I remember we got an appointment like a couple of days later. They were like, do not be late. I think we were there like 45 minutes early. I was like sitting in the office waiting. And I said, well, you were right and I was wrong. And he said, it doesn't matter. You're here.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't make me feel bad at all.
No, yeah.
So he did the surgery. So it's like called a debulking surgery. So they cut me from my belly button down, like all the way down, removed the tumors. I did ask him for a photo of my tumor and he did not supply one. I really wanted to know what it looked like.
God. That's funny.
I was like fascinated by.
You're like, can I have it? Can I just like put it in a jar in the bathroom?
So I can play with it after. I just want to see like, what is it look like? What color is it? Like, what's going on? But he did my surgery and then I did treatment with another oncologist who I love so much, Dr. Omid Hamid. But no, that you're like, I have a friend who has a brain tumor diagnosis right now. She's going through treatment and we were talking last night about this. People mean well.
Yeah.
But they say so many of the wrong things.
100%. I've always said that cancer weeds certain friends out and certain people rise to the top.
People are like, take ivermectin and fenbendazole.
Yeah.
Someone literally said, I saw this on TikTok and it cures cancer. You should do this.
Yeah.
I said, okay, thanks. You need to get a second opinion. You should fly here. You should go there. You should do this. You should watch this. You should take this. You should take this supplement, do this thing. And I think it's really hard because you're filled with so much anxiety.
So much, yeah.
So much fear. And everyone around you, I think they're anxious for you as well. And so they're pushing their help onto you. But it doesn't necessarily feel helpful because you're just so overwhelmed and scared. I mean, I don't know. I feel very grateful that I live in LA and that we have incredible doctors here. I don't need to fly to Texas. I don't need to fly to New York. I live in LA. Like, we have amazing care here.
I think when too many opinions come in, I know for me, when I was given a choice to do chemo or not, and I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old at the time. And for me, I was just like, I'm going to do it. But I had other people in my life that were really against that. And it's hard to figure out if you have such strong opinions because it made me more anxious about my path. How about you? Did you have people that were like kind of just filtering all their stuff on you, their opinions?
It wasn't so much about, oh, don't do chemo or don't. One of my oncologists, my response to chemo was really good. Most people, when they're diagnosed with ovarian cancer, they're stage 3 or stage 4. I was stage 2. So I was super lucky.
Thank
also,
God.
what I learned is that cancer can either be like mine was like a huge tumor, or it can be almost like salt and pepper, where it's just kind of scattered everywhere.
That was mine.
Okay.
So yeah, that's yours was big, so they were able to view it and monitor it and get it out.
Yeah. But the salt and pepper cancer, it's scarier. But one of my oncologists was like, you're responding so well, you could probably just do 4. And my other oncologist initially was like, you're going to do 6. And I was like, no, I'm doing 6. I don't want to take, it's like this for me was the same reason I had my nipples removed when I had my mastectomy was like, I'm going to do the 6 because I just want to know that I've done everything.
Yes. Same. That's why I got a double mastectomy because they were like, well, it's only in your right breast. And I'm like, I don't want to be back here. And I know there's a lot of judgment, but you have to be, it is the my body, my choice thing, right? And it's like, how do you want to live your life? Do you want to live in fear and looking over your shoulder, or knowing no matter what happens that you did your best, right? You did your best.
Yeah. The anxiety is real. And I think you're right. It's like, you have to do what feels right for you. And there's also like no right or wrong. I mean, I don't know breast cancer. For ovarian cancer, it's like kind of like it's like you either get the debulking usually, and then you get the chemo. You don't usually get the chemo. I think more people get the debulking and then the chemo, then the chemo, then the debulking.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like a protocol. But when you're given a decision or when things go bumpy, like, oh, we didn't get it. I have a girlfriend going through breast cancer right now, right? It's like this happened, that happened. And it's been like complication after complication. It makes it, complicated. And it's hard to filter out what good advice is and what bad advice is. You know what I did that helped? I created a folder in my email inbox called cancer. And every time people would send me YouTube videos or medications or trials or all this stuff, I'd be like, yeah, thanks, whatever. And I dumped it in there. And then I could go back and refer to it and watch this stuff later if I wanted it, or delete it and be done. But it was just like a nice place to kind of hold it all so that I have to think about it.
Yeah, to file it. Were you during that time like meditating and doing, I know that you seem like you've always been a healthy eater. And I know when I was diagnosed, I was like, I went to the fear place, and the fear place that everything I was putting in my mouth must be killing me because it wasn't a family thing. I remember talking to my oncologist, who I love and still today, Philomena, and she had mentioned, she's like, people of faith seem to do better in treatment and during cancer. And that's when I found that side of myself and really dove into it, the meditation and whatnot. Did you do any of that to help you in your journey?
I mean, I definitely think food is like the first touchstone, right?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
What am I eating? What am I doing wrong? How did this happen?
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends who are chefs and stuff, and I called them, and, I have a friend who's in school for Ayurvedic cooking, and she's a chef, and I was like, what do I do? What do I eat? I don't know. And it was like, no one had the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
No one knew, like no one told me. And so I had to just come back to myself and just go with my gut.
Yeah.
I always eat healthy. I don't eat fast food. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't eat chips and garbage. But cancer still happened.
Yeah.
So I have an incredible support. My husband's amazing. We have been in couples therapy for like 3 years. We never did therapy.
Cancer will do that. Cancer.
We were doing it when my son went to college. So 3 years ago we started, and he has an incredible community of friends, and together going through therapy together for
That's
3
great.
years and through treatment. I have an incredible group of friends, girlfriends. I'm in this like women's meditation group. And I've done a bunch of work on myself. So it's not that I like sit and meditate. I actually think that my attitude during treatment was great. It's after for me that now is where I'm so anxious.
A lot of people that we talk to on this podcast, they feel like they're safe when they're in treatment. And then all of a sudden they're on a cliff, or like, okay, you're good. We did everything we could do. It's on you now. Is that how you feel?
I think it's just a reoccurrence, right? And I try to sort of talk to myself and be like, it's not coming back. You're not getting cancer again.
Yeah.
But then it just kind of
Seeps in there.
seeps in there. And yeah, someone recently said to me, oh, you must be so happy now that cancer's behind you. And I'm like, no. I don't think it's ever behind you.
It's never behind us. It's always something that we feel we could, speaking for myself, I could be doing better in. I am not the healthiest eater. I mean, I am most of the time, but I beat myself up when I'm doing something.
What I've been trying to do, what I've found works best for my body is if I stop eating at 7.
That's great. Yeah. So you're like intermittent fasting.
Not even intermittent fasting, because I don't even think it's that. It's more about giving my body time before I go to bed to digest. And so I find that I go to bed on a sort of empty stomach, and my body's happier. But I'm going to dinner tonight, and dinner's at 7:30. I'm sure I'll be eating till 10. So I just feel in my stomach just doesn't feel as happy late. But no, it creeps in, all the time.
All the time.
Because it's like, I'm not perfect. I eat some dark chocolate. I do this, I do that.
We have to live life. Normally I'm a worker-outer. I saw in your story that you go to Tracy. I did that too. Love those classes. But
I feel like people either love it or hate it. And
yeah,
people are like, I know, it's Tracy Anderson. I love it so much.
Which is what you're saying. Like, you have to do what's good for you. What's going to get you in the gym? And if you're going in the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, it's working. And my oncologist had said to me about reoccurrence and I guess lifting weights, weight-bearing activity reduces it by 40%, which always sticks in my mind. So when I'm not working out, I feel guilty that I'm like, oh no, is it going to come back because I'm not doing the weight-bearing activities? So it's always a mind game, right?
The 3 months before I was diagnosed, every time I colored my hair, I got a rash all over my neck and chest.
Oh, really? Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. And it kept, every time I would get color, I think for myself, my body was having a really hard time processing toxins.
Yeah.
It just couldn't. We were like doing a huge house renovation and being back in a salon after a 5-year hiatus. And then my body just like was struggling to cope with like day-to-day toxins. But it's part of the reason why I haven't colored my hair yet, because
it looks good the way it is. I like your salt and pepper.
Thanks.
Was your hair curly before chemo?
Yeah, it was like long brown and curly. It was like yours, but longer and dark brown.
Okay, because mine wasn't. Mine was straight before chemo.
Oh, was it? Mm-hmm. I cut it into like a really short bob, which I loved. And then did you cold cap?
I did. I would probably never do that again just because it's a little torturous. I mean, I just needed to do it right then. I didn't want to be the patient at Ralph's or anywhere else. And my husband's bald too, so I didn't want to have 2 bald people in the house at one time.
Did it work for you?
It did, yeah. It
You
did.
saved all your hair?
I'd say I probably lost maybe 20% of it. You couldn't tell at all that I lost 20% of it. The most thing that you could tell is what they didn't really mention is that you lose your eyelashes and your eyebrows like well after chemo. It takes like a month or so after you're done, and then all of a sudden you have no eyelashes and eyebrows. And I was like, that's strange.
And no nose hair was the weirdest.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the rest of the hair off the body was awesome, right?
No eyebrows and eyelashes. It's like you look the sickest when you're the most healthy. Like by the time you get to the end of treatment and you're like healthy, you look so sick.
I remember going through treatment, and because I had my hair and I'd wear like all silk little scarves around it because you couldn't wash it. But people would be like, what are you doing? You look great. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's the chemo spa. Oh my God. But your hair looks cool and because it's just ratty. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. But I switched treatments right in between. Those 6 treatments were too much for me. So I was like, they're like, look, we're doing something different in New York where we're doing once a week treatments for elderly. Oh. They can handle it, and it's proven the same results. So I'm like, I'll take it. Right. I'll do it. Yeah. That's so amazing. I did that.
So chemo is hard. Nutrition. And the week of chemo, well, for me, because I did chemo every 3 weeks, but like how I ate before and how I ate during treatment was very different. Well, during treatment, I could only eat toast with butter and berries and cottage cheese sometimes.
That's it for part 1. In part 2, Leanne gets into chemo nutrition, her go-to meditation practice, and the emotional reality of hair loss. Part 2 drops next Wednesday.